Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Today, my presentation topic is the chestnut blight, a devastating fungal disease. The context of my presentation is what is chestnut blight, the history of chestnut blight, symptoms of chestnut blight, efforts to combat chestnut blight, the future of American chestnuts, and conclusion. So, first of all, what is chestnut blight? Chestnut blight is a fungal disease that affects American chestnut trees. It was first discovered in New York City in 1944 and quickly spread throughout the eastern United States, devastating the once thriving American chestnut population. The fungus attacks the bark of the tree, causing cankers to form and eventually killing the tree. The impact of chestnut blight on American chestnut population was so severe that is estimated that up to 4 billion trees were lost in just few decades. Chestnut blight is a fungal disease caused by Grifonectria parasitica that affects the bark of chestnut tree. The fungus enters the tree through wounds or cracks in the bark and then spread rapidly, cutting off the flow of nutrients and water to the rest of tree. This eventually leads to the death of the tree. The symptoms of chestnut blight include cankers on the trunk and branches of the tree, which are areas of dead bark that may ooze a reddish brown fluid. As the disease progresses, the cankers girdle the tree, causing it to die back from the top down. The leaves of the tree also turn brown and wilt, and the nuts produced by the tree become small and shriveled. So, introduction of chestnut blight can be chestnut blight caused by fungus Grifonectria parasitica is a devastating disease that has had a profound impact on the chestnut tree population. First discovered in the early 90s, chestnut blight quickly spread throughout North America and Europe, killing off millions of trees and drastically altering forest ecosystem. Despite efforts to control and prevent its spread, chestnut blight continues to be a serious threat to chestnut trees and the environment as a whole. History of chestnut blight. The In the early 90s, a devastating disease known as chestnut blight swept through the forests of North America, decimating the once thriving American chestnut population. The blight was caused by an invasive fungus that had been introduced to the continent from Asia, where it had evolved alongside Asian chestnuts and was not harmful to them. However, the American chestnut had no natural resistance to the fungus, and within a few decades, an estimated 4 billion trees had succumbed to the disease. The loss of this iconic species had a profound impact on the ecology and economy of the region, as well as on the cultural identity of many communities. Chestnut blight caused by the fungus Grifonectaria parasitica was first discovered in United States in early 90s. The disease is believed to have been introduced from Asia through imported chestnut trees. At the time, chestnut trees were a dominant species in the eastern forest of North America, comprising up to 25% of the forest canopy. The fungus quickly spread throughout the region, killing off entire populations of chestnut trees. By the 1950s, an estimated 4 billion chestnut trees had been lost to the disease. The loss of the chestnut trees had a profound impact on the ecosystem, as well as on the economy and culture of the region. Chestnut has been an important food source for both wildlife and human, and the wood from chestnut trees are highly valued for its strength and durability. What is the current status of chestnut blight? Chestnut blight is a devastating disease that has had a significant impact on the chestnut trees population. While efforts have been made to control and prevent its spread, there is still much work to be done. According to the recent data and statistics, chestnut blight continues to affect chestnut trees in many areas. In some regions, up to 90% of chestnut tree population has been lost due to this disease. However, there are also areas where the disease has been successfully controlled through careful management and research. Continued research and action are crucial in the fight against chestnut blight. Scientists and researchers are working to develop new methods for controlling and preventing the spread of the disease, while also exploring ways to restore the chestnut tree population to its former glory. American chestnut and its habitat. Its habitat is common on mild slope and other moderately dry soils. It shares moist, mesophytic soils with many other species. Its tap root is 4 to 5 feet down. The fungus which causes this disease is Cryphonectria parasitica. It's it's a psychomycete species produce both Cnidia and ascospores. Cnidia stromata breaks through the lenticels and produce conidia and perithecia producing ascospores are formed. This is the life structure of Cryphonectria parasitica. Asexual reproduction from the spores, which are called as conidiospores. This is the trigogen plasmogamy, developing ascogenous hyphae, the root. This is the root which is called as hyphae. After meiosis, it forms the spores. Impact of chestnut blight. Chestnut blight has had a devastating impact on the environment, economy, and culture. The loss of the American chestnut tree, which was once a dominant species in the eastern United States, has had ripple effects throughout the ecosystem. Without the chestnut tree, other species that relied on it for food and habitat have suffered as well. The economic impact of the chestnut blight has been significant as well. Chestnuts were once an important crop for both human consumption and livestock feeds. With the loss of chestnut tree, farmers and communities that relied on this crop for income have had to find alternative resources of revenue. Finally, the cultural impact of chestnut blight cannot be overstated. For many people, the chestnut tree was a symbol of strength and resilience. Its loss has been felt deeply by those who remember its towering presence in the forests and fields of eastern United States. Symptoms of chestnut blight. Chestnut blight is caused by a fungus that infects the bark of American chestnut trees. The first visible symptom is usually a small canker on the bark, which will gradually enlarge over time. As the canker grows, it girdles the tree, cutting off the flow of nutrient and water to the upper branches and leaves. This causes the leaf to wilt and turn brown, eventually killing the entire tree. In addition to the canker, chestnut blight also produces small orange-brown spots on the leaves, which may drop prematurely. These spores are actually the fruiting bodies of the fungus, which release spores that can be carried by wind or rain to infect other trees. Over time, repeated infections can lead to the death of entire stands of American chestnut. Symptoms of chestnut blight. How does it kill the tree? This is the cracking enters through the fissures or wounds in the bark. grows in and under the bark, gilding the cambium. Kill the tree above the point of infection. Cause it causes swollen and sunken orange colored cankers on the limbs and trunks of chestnut trees, as we can see here. Effort to combat chestnut blight. One of the most promising method for combating chestnut blight is a biological control. This involves introducing natural enemies of the fungus that causes chestnut blight, such as parasitic wasps or viruses, to reduce its impact on American chestnut trees. Another approach is breeding resistant trees. Scientists have been working to cross breeding American chestnut with Chinese chestnut, which are naturally resistant to the blight. The resulting hybrid may be able to resist the disease while retaining the characteristics of American chestnut. Blight control and restoration. What are the approaches? Hypovirulent strains, Asian blight resistance, natural resistant forest management practices. Hypovirulent strains. Italian and French scientists observed non-lethal cankers growing on trees in Italy in 1960s, found that strains of the fungus associated with the blight produced colonies of abnormal shape and pigment, demonstrating that these strain contains some contagious factor responsible for the inability to produce lethal infection, i.e. hypoviruses. In North America, hypovirus infected strains have been found in strain instance in Michigan. In the last 2 decades, scientists have attempted to debilitate the fungus by infecting it with the virus, a process called hypovirulence. Hypovirulence gives chestnut trees a much less potent form of the disease and gives chestnut a fighting chance for survival. Fungus is restricted to the outer bark. Once introduced into a few trees, hopes are that hypovirulence will spread throughout the forest, offering hope to surrounding trees as well. The future of American chestnut. The American chestnut tree was once a dominant species in the eastern United States, providing food and shelter for wildlife and serving as an important source of timber for humans. However, the introduction of chestnut blight in the early 19th decimated the population, leaving only a few scattered trees remaining in the wild. Despite this devastating loss, there is a hope for the future of American chestnut. Scientists and conservationists have been working tirelessly to develop blight resistance trees through breeding programs and genetic engineering. These efforts have shown promising results, with some trees exhibiting high level of resistance and even immunity to the disease. Conclusion. In conclusion, chestnut blight has had a devastating effect on the American chestnut population, but there is hope for its restoration. Efforts to combat chestnut blight has included biological control and breeding resistant trees, and continuous research and conservation efforts are crucial for the future of iconic species. In conclusion, chestnut blight is a devastating disease that has had a significant impact on the chestnut tree population. It spreads quickly and can cause irreparable damage to the trees, which have long been an important part of our environment, economy, and culture. Despite the challenges posed by chestnut blight, there are efforts underway to control and prevent its spread. Continued research and action are essential to protecting the remaining chestnut trees and restoring their population. We must all do our part to raise awareness about the important issues and support the ongoing fight against chestnut blight. Thank you so much. This is all from my side.